I've been making some shorts. I moved to Bali to start a marketing agency. I finally signed my first client, so I wanted to make a video on kind of how I did that. Hope that it helps somebody else. I know when I was just first starting out just a few months ago, it was really helpful to kind of watch videos of people that had gotten their first client, what they did, what they're currently doing. So yeah, this is my process. I'm not claiming to, be any sort of coach or anything like that. This is literally just what I did to get my first client, and copy it, do whatever else you want. Hopefully, it helps you out. I'm just documenting the journey of moving to Bali and starting an agency from the ground up. So, yeah, so this is how I got my first client right here. The first thing I did was I kind of started thinking about, this was a few months ago, my ideal client profile, my ideal customer profile, kind of who I wanted to target, who I wanted to reach out to, who I thought I could help the most. So in that, I thought about the fitness industry, because it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I really enjoy doing. I love going to the gym, love training martial arts. Obviously, it's tough because the fitness industry is I guess relatively saturated from what I've heard in terms of marketing agencies. People doing all sorts of things from them, and they get calls every day, emails every day, about people that want to get them more leads or whatever else. So I understood that it would be a challenge, but I wanted to do that because it's a business that I'm passionate about, wanting to help out with. So in that, I thought about kind of first what industry. I decided on fitness, and then the company size. I decided to go after boutique fitness studios, smaller fitness studios. They might not have as big a budget for marketing, but also in terms of the competition, might not be there in the same level as a massive gym chain like Powerhouse or Gold's or whatever else it is, which I'll eventually be coming for. And then in terms of location, I'm from the United States, so I decided to target businesses in the U.S., specifically in the state that I live in, just because from everything I've heard from other people, the more local you can get, the better. And then I thought about kind of pain points. So what are these businesses struggling with that I could help out with? Number one, low online visibility. It's kind of a saturated market in terms of in every local area, there are a bunch of gyms, there are a bunch of, yoga studios, Pilates studios, X sort of, fitness studio in the city. There are going to be a bunch of them. So I thought about that. They have trouble with client retention, getting clients, keeping clients, and then differentiation. So, how are you different from the gym down the street? What's your offer? What does your gym look like? How does it make you different? How does it make you better? So in that, I kind of started thinking about what are the pain points, figure out the pain points, figure out things that they're having trouble with, and, what solutions could I offer to these sorts of pain points. So in my offer, I was thinking about, what do they need? Obviously, they need more clients. Every business needs more clients, especially with local businesses in things like gyms, fitness studios. They need, better visibility to be seen on Google, to be seen on socials, and then they need, better reputation. So, you want to be seen as the most reputable business in the fitness industry in your local town. So you want to be the best gym, you want to be the best, yoga studio, you want to be the best Pilates studio, whatever it is, you want to be the best. And I think that, when I was thinking about this, the second, visibility and reputation kind of seem to relate to the first one in that if you have, better reputation, you're going to get more clients. So I kind of started going down this rabbit hole of services I wanted to provide, things that I could think of, that I could really offer value and actually help these sorts of businesses. And obviously I stumbled upon Hormozy here and his value equation. So when I was thinking about this, it was, what service can I provide? And I'm new at this. So what service can I provide to them that's going to get them their dream outcome of, more clients, that's going to increase their perceived likelihood of achievement. So, how likely they are to actually achieve the thing that I'm talking about. And when I was thinking about that, for me, it was, okay, well, I want to select a service that I know I'll be able to deliver, that I know that I'm actually going to be able to help them with, not just say, I'm going to get you, 30 new appointments in 30 days or whatever else it is, like pretty much every other agency is doing on the internet. And then on the bottom half of that equation, how can I minimize the amount of time it takes to deliver the results, and then effort and sacrifice. So minimize, the amount that they actually have to do to see the outcome that I'm promising. And so with this, I came upon reputation management. Reputation management for local businesses. if you want to check out, a YouTube channel that really helps with this, somebody that I've been listening to a lot over the last few months, James Bonadies is great for this. He talks a lot about reputation management, how to run it, how to do it. Not only that, but why it's the perfect kind of gateway and foot in the door offer for an agency. So coming to a business and offering this to them, with the expectation that once you kill the free trial, once you sign them on it, eventually you're going to be providing more services for them, and they're going to pay you more, down the road. So this is kind of what I thought about, and then I plugged it into the value equation. So, something like reputation management, specifically with Google reviews, increasing their Google review count, helping them get more 5-star reviews through remarketing. It's going to help them get more clients. So, if there are two businesses in a city and one has, 200 reviews and they're at a 4.8 star rating, and then the next business in the same niche has 15 reviews and they're at a 3.5 rating, it's kind of obvious who you're going to choose. So I essentially came to businesses saying, hey, I'll help you get more clients via increasing your reputation. In terms of their perceived likelihood of achievement, not too much yet on the side of the client, just because I didn't have any prior results. But I was honest with the fact that, I was confident in saying I can do this for you. But this has since increased, obviously, now that I have the client, have gotten them results. And we'll talk about that in a second here. And then in terms of minimizing that time delay, so trying to really just minimize the amount of time it takes to deliver the service. With something like reputation management, something like Google reviews, you can get them results in 1 to 2 days, which is why it really appealed to me, so they can kind of get those quick wins. And then how much effort do they have to put in for this to happen? How much do they have to sacrifice? Literally nothing. So if you get on the phone with me, if you hop on the Zoom call or Google Meet or whatever it is, you let me talk to you, set it up for you, I'll get you results. You don't have to give me your card. You don't have to, do anything for this to happen. I just want to offer you value. And that's what I did. So this is my offer. This is kind of what I've been working with. This is what's been working for me. This is what I'm working with clients now on. And I have plans to increase the services that I'm providing, but this is perfect in terms of, has been perfect for me in terms of getting in the door, offering the service, actually being able to deliver it and help out clients. So it was super fun to research this for a long time and kind of craft the offer, and this is what it's going to look like. And, I'm going to start reaching out to businesses and get this. And then the actual outreach comes, and it's a lot more demoralizing in terms of getting, rejected the entire day. So that's kind of what came next was, the actual outreach of things. So how am I going to reach out to people? How am I going to, contact them? How am I going to get through to the decision maker? And I had previous sales experience. It was kind of, direct to consumer and literally walking up to people and trying to sell things. So this kind of doing it through the screen and not only sending out messages, but getting people on calls was something that was super new to me. So I was thinking about, how can I effectively target people on cold outreach? I would really recommend, like other people are saying, start with warm outreach, start with your local circle. My first client actually came from cold outreach, so I can't really speak on that, but I know the potential with that in terms of just people that already know you and the trust that's there and helping, not only getting your foot in the door with them, but then eventually them becoming a client. So yeah, it was about taking action for me. So for a long time, I literally just sat around, tinkered with my website, wrote down a bunch of things that I was excited for, watch more YouTube videos. And in that, I wasn't actually doing, wasn't actually taking any action. I wasn't sending out any messages, getting rejected, which is what you have to do. And finally, I decided to just start sending out a bunch of Instagram DMs. And I chose Instagram, one, because I watched a Charlie Barber video, but two, because, it was somewhere where I felt I could be personable. You reach out, they can see your profile, they can see what you're about. And then secondly, because especially with something like the fitness industry, I felt like I could reach to the decision maker better. So with a small boutique studio, it's probably not like a huge marketing agency that's running their social media marketing or anything like that. It's probably just the owner of the studio that's posting every once in a while. So I figured, get on Instagram, reach out to them, be personable, offer value, and I should be able to connect with the person that will immediately give me that yes or no on whether or not they want to work with me. Because with things like cold calling that I've experienced, it can be harder to, if you're calling like a dentist office or a med spa or anything like that. You're just going to reach the man or woman that's sitting at the front desk, and they're not going to want to bother their boss with your, I'll get you 30 clients in 7 days offer or whatever else it is. So it's tough in that. I definitely need to improve cold calling. I've been doing it more, and it's slowly getting there and improving. But Instagram is the way I got my first client personally. So this is kind of what my message looked like right here. And after sending hundreds of DMs, I've kind of tried to systematize it more in terms of thinking, what are the core elements of the message that are actually helping me. They're actually helping me get through to them, offer value to them, and have them, respond positively to agreeing to a meeting. So this is kind of what I start with. Every single message, the first message is to compliment the business. Again, check out Charlie Barber's videos. He really helped me in terms of messaging on Instagram. I'm not doing any of the automation or anything like that, but this is the message right here. So first message, just a compliment of the business. It is literally just reaching out and saying something like, for me, it was fitness studios. So something like, hey, I'd love to see the content, love to see the workouts. You're killing it with the business. Keep it up. Or something like, hey, I'm in the area. I'd love to come by for a class soon. You guys are doing amazing. Keep it up. Something like that, to where you're just complimenting the business. You're making them feel good. And then you wait for a response. So they respond like, thank you, or, that's awesome. We look forward to seeing you, or something like that. And then with the next message, from reading Hormozy and things like that, I decided to try and ask a question that would kind of lead to what my offer was. So specifically what this looked like for me was, I'm getting businesses more Google reviews. So I'm trying to ask the question in terms of what's going to lead to my offer, what in this question is going to kind of lead them in their mind to my offer. So I went with kind of, free trials, promotions, in terms of, I literally my second message was, do you have, a free trial available, or do you have like a discount for new students or something like that, to just kind of warm them up more and get them more engaged with the conversation before you drop your offer. I've gone back and forth with, doing something like this versus literally just giving them the compliment, waiting for the response, and then saying, hey, this is my offer right here. And it just tends to work a lot better for me personally when I do something more like this, where I continue to engage them in a conversation before, dropping them an offer. And then you open the message and it just says seen under it. So this works for me. So I said, do you have, free trial available or whatever? Wait for them to respond. And then the third message for me was something like this. So some sort of personalized message on the third one. Click on their profile, like another picture, figure out something that they're doing in their content, bring that up again, and then just go into your offer after you've given them a compliment. I said, I've been helping, businesses in this state, in this niche, accomplish this dream outcome. So specifically for me, it was, getting more Google reviews. Obviously, this is going to look different for, whatever business you're doing it for, whether it's getting you, 5 quote ready leads, or getting you more clients in the door, whatever else it is. So I suggested the campaign using the free trial to do this. And then I just, asked another qualifying question, and then I gave the call to action. And that is like, literally just asking them, hey, would you be open to a meeting? Something like that. Or, hey, could I send you over more information? If they're super skeptical or whatever, you can kind of select the call to action. My call to action was just, would you want to meet or something like that? So this is exactly what the message looked like. This is the message from my first client. I just, obviously I blocked out their details for confidentiality. But I reached out and said, hey, wanted to reach out, say it was cool to see the growth of the studio, huge for community wellness. And then I said, this city, native here, keep it up. And they responded with, thanks so much. And then I went right into the free trial thing. So I said, of course, do you offer free trials? And then waited for the response. And they said, we offer new member discounts, but not free trials. And so then I kind of went into the framework up here that I said of then complementing the business and then just going right into my offer of kind of what I'm doing, what I can do, free trial, and then giving them a call to action. That looked like this right here. So to use personalization for me, I said, okay, great. Just graduated from, this university, which happened to be near the business. And I said, I always heard about your studio. I've been helping select, fitness studios boost their Google business reviews. A campaign where we remarket your past customers and offer a discount if they leave a Google review would work really well. I'd love to run this for you as a free case study. And in terms of this, the case study has worked a lot better for me, saying case study as opposed to free trial, just because I think when people hear free trial, it automatically kind of has paid behind it eventually. So I said, so case study's been working a lot better for me in terms of just getting them engaged and agreeing to book a call. And it was a super positive response. They said, thanks, Hayden. I would be interested in learning more about this. Do you want to set up a Zoom call? And then we found some times that worked. Again, I had heard that as opposed to just saying like, would sometime this week work for you, offer a few times and see if you can get them to book directly off of that, just so you can kind of speed up the process. And then, the business owner said 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, sent through a meeting link. We got on the call and it went well from there. So we got on the sales call, and obviously there are a million videos of how to conduct sales call for a marketing agency. I tailored it to my business in terms of what I'm doing. So on the call it was super easy because I was just running the free trial for them. So I just closed the free trial. And then from there, ran the free trial. And this is kind of what the results look like. So when we started with them, like I said, we were getting them Google business reviews. That was the whole purpose of the campaign, kind of what I was offering. They were at, a 4.8 star rating and 22 Google reviews. And then within 2 weeks, they got to a 5-star rating and 73 Google reviews. And this is all through remarketing, past customers, just saying, hey, we appreciate your business. We would really love if you left us a review. And obviously this is huge for them because, going from 22, when you have a bunch of businesses that are at 30 or 40 or 50 reviews that all have 5-star ratings, and then you can jump to, 73 5-star ratings, it's obviously going to increase your local SEO. You're going to rank higher. And in terms of reputation, when somebody looks at your business versus another business that has 30, 40, 50 less reviews, they're going to trust you more. They're going to be more likely to click on your business to, come in for a consultation or come in for a free class or, what have you. So that's kind of how the campaign went. Took about 2 weeks to get from point A to B. I think within like the first week, they had doubled their reviews or gotten to 60. So it was really awesome. And throughout the process, I was sending updates, sending emails, just continuing those touch points of, hey, we're killing it. We're doing a really good job for you. You're not paying me anything. I'm just doing this for you. Sending updates of constant wins to just let them know that. And then after the campaign, I scheduled a follow-up call to kind of talk about results. I've since learned that it's probably best if you're doing something like a follow-up call to try and schedule on the onboarding. Otherwise, you can kind of just play email tag for weeks and have nothing happen. A lot of people are doing, with this sort of stuff, free trials or whatever else. I decided to, just schedule a follow-up call because of the fact that I knew that they might want other services as opposed to just reputation management. So I did that. And then on the call, we kind of talked about, overview wins. Obviously, it's a concrete example of the objective that we were trying to achieve and then actually achieving it. And then saying, do you want to keep going? Do you want this to keep going? And then there's a potential for other services in there. So on the call, obviously they said, yes, we want to keep this going. So we worked out a paid agreement. And then on top of that, there was another service that they wanted to provide. And, from that is how I got my first client. So it was literally just, finding out who I wanted to work with, figuring out what sort of solution I could offer to their problem, actually doing the outreach and just getting rejected hundreds of times by people, which is the toughest part for sure. And then actually, getting them on the call, delivering them results, coming back and just reviewing those results. And throughout that entire process, I'm just building a relationship with the client. And now we're working together and we have, an awesome relationship. We're getting them results. And that is the story of my first client for my agency. So like I said in the beginning, like I'll continue to say, I have a super long way to go with this. I am nowhere close to, where I want to be in a year, 5 years with this. But I'm looking forward to the journey. I hope this helps anybody that is, just starting out there like me, working on getting their first client, their first 5 clients, whatever it is. I know these videos help me and definitely give me motivation. So, hopefully this can give you some ideas, or at least, give you that kick to start making the calls or start sending the DMs. And there you go. That's my first client. Thank you.